It is January 25th, and the Splash Zone is back in your life. I am Matt Modi with my 4 favorite NBA player props for today. For today's NBA betting slate, I have 2 overs and 2 unders, perfectly balanced as all things should. But before I can give you today's picks, I got to do a recap from yesterday, which unfortunately was not great. Our hot streak that we were on last week has officially come to an end, as last night, I gave out another 4 picks. I only got one of those 4 to cash. Thank you to Anthony Edwards for scoring 30 points, but I missed LaMelo Ball, 30 plus points. Just the wrong read. He had a horrible shooting night, and then everything ended up going to Brandon Miller, who had a great game. I had Donovan Mitchell, 35 plus points. That one didn't even come close. I should have put more emphasis on the fired head coach bump for the Bucks. And then what really hurt was I had DeJounte Murray over 7.5 assists. He had 5 halfway through the first half. He even at one point had 6, and then they took it away from him. And then he only had 2 the rest of the game. So I got hooked on that. He ended with exactly 7. It was brutal. But that's how these things go, unfortunately. So we ended the day down 2 units. Luckily, we have built up a lot of profit over the course of the season. We are up just under 37 units on the year with an ROI over 22%. So if you're not already, I would appreciate it if you could subscribe. So when our next hot streak starts, which I hope is tonight, you will be along for the ride. Other than that, remember to like the video, of course, and then comment, let me know your thoughts. And let's get into today's plays. So our first play we're going to go ahead and lock in here is in the Nuggets versus Knicks game. And I am taking Jamal Murray under 24.5 points. This is best offered at -110 odds at DraftKings. I got to say, I love fading Jamal Murray in this spot. He's just been such an inconsistent scorer this entire year. Like, he'll have games where he'll remind you how good he is and the talent that he has and all that stuff. And then he'll go stretches without scoring much, showing the inconsistency that he's had this year. On the entire year, he's only gone over this number in 9 of 31 games. And on the entire year, he's actually only had one stretch where he has scored 25 or more points in back-to-back games. Literally has done that once this year. In both of those games, he scored 25 points. Now, I don't think it's anything like he's incapable of playing 2 good games in a row. I more so think it's the fact, just to highlight his inconsistency in a team coming off of a championship run, not quite being able to get up the same juice for the regular season. In the past 10 games, Murray has gone over this number in exactly half of those games, but in 2 of the games he went over, he scored exactly 25. So again, yes, that does get the over. And if he scores 25 points tonight, that will cash the over, and I will be very disappointed. But it goes to show you that even when he goes over, it's literally the closest he could get to while still going over. In all 5 games he went over, those are all matchups where you would have wanted to target him. The Pacers twice, the Warriors, the Pistons, the Celtics. All 5 of those defenses are either bad or, in the Celtics case, very good, but allow a lot of points to point guards. For those of you that have been following my channel on the year, I've actually been targeting point guards against the Celtics a lot, and it's come through for me a lot as well. I also like this play as a fade of recent events. Jamal Murray just hung 31 points against the Pacers. Last time he scored 30 points is when he scored 35 against the Celtics. The next game, he scored 19. Prior to that, the third time ago, he scored over 30 points. He had 37 against the Pistons. The next game, he had 17 against the Jazz. So that just goes to show you the inconsistency that Jamal Murray has been playing with this year. And now for tonight, he's going up against a Knicks defense that has literally been the best defense in the NBA since they made the OG trade. If you isolate the date from the trade on, they literally have the best defensive net rating in the NBA. And to go even further, per Courtside Pal, they give up the fewest points per game to someone of Jamal Murray's scoring profile. So a lot of reasons why I like fading Jamal Murray tonight. Hopefully he comes through for us by not having a good game. Next up, in the Timberwolves versus Nets game, our second underplay, Mel Bridges under 22.5 points, -105 odds at ESPN Bet. Second play, another fade spot, this time taking the under on Bridges. He's another player similar to Murray who's been very inconsistent as a scorer this year. Unlike Murray, I think that the deal with Bridges is he's just showing that he's not the type of guy who can be the #1 scoring option on a good offense. He's a little bit too limited as an offensive player. He's a great third option. He shouldn't be the #1 option. On the year, Bridges has gone over this number in 14 of 43 games. I will admit he's played a little bit better recently. He's gone over in 4 of his last 6. But similar to Jamal Murray, I like this one as a fade of recent results. Bridges has gone over in 2 straight games. Now, he's not like Murray, where he literally never goes over 2 or 3 games in a row. So that's not why I'm playing this. And I will say the last 2 games Bridges has played in which he went over, those were against 2 good defenses. So I just want to give you the full picture here. So I'll give him props to that. He scored 26 points against the Clippers, and then his most recent game against the Knicks, who I mentioned their defense has been awesome, he scored 36 points. To me, that makes it the perfect time to take his under and fade those recent results in another really tough matchup against the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves give up the fewest points per game in the NBA and according to net rating on the entire year, so not a recent sample size, have the best defense in the NBA as well. Now, if you look at their defense specifically against guys like Bridges and small forwards, they're still good, but they're not as good. Over the past month, they allow the 7th fewest points per game to small forwards in the NBA. This is more of a fade of Bridges in this spot, while also noting that it is against a very good defense. That's our second play. Our last underplay. Let's get to some overs. Let's get to some plus money bangers. Starting in the 76ers versus Pacers game, and I'm taking Tyrese Maxey, 30 plus points, plus 105 odds at FanDuel. I know everybody's going to want to back Embiid in this game. He just scored 70. Now, the game after scoring 70, he gets to go up against the Pacers, who are the worst defense in the NBA, in the paint, at protecting the rim, all that stuff. But Embiid's over-under is at like 36.5. And if anything, him blowing up for 70 last game, that makes me want to take his under the next game more than the over. But I'm not going to do that because that would be bold. Instead, I'm going to be backing Maxey, who still has a really good matchup against the Pacers. It's not like the Pacers are only bad against centers. They're bad everywhere. And I think Maxey should have a good game. As bad as the Pacers are in the paint and at protecting the rim, like I said, they're literally bad everywhere. According to Courtside Pal, the Pacers give up the most points per game to someone of Maxey's scoring profile and the 3rd most points per game to someone of his shooting profile. Now, I've mentioned this in a couple videos, so I don't want to explain it in every single one. All you need to know is those stats, they do measure 2 different things. Shooting profile just measures where they shoot from, whether it goes in or not. Scoring profile actually takes skill into account and where the shots fall. It's important to look at both, and the Pacers are bad at both as well. Doesn't look like Pascal Siakam is fixing this Pacers defense, at least not yet. And even so, he's not going to be the one to guard Tyrese Maxey anyways. My guess here is that the Pacers are going to play Embiid kind of similar to the way they played Giannis after Giannis blew up against them, basically walling off the paint. I know Embiid and Giannis are 2 different players, of course, but giving a lot of bodies, a lot of attention towards Embiid, saying he's not going to beat us, leaving guys like Maxey somewhat open. And Embiid has shown the ability to beat double teams more so than he has been in the past. He's averaging a career high in assists by far. So I also do like Embiid's assist play as well. So if you want to parlay Maxey 30 plus points and Embiid assists, I haven't looked at the odds, but I just like Embiid's assist tonight. One thing I am going to do with Embiid, I'm going to take him to get a triple double at plus 1,500 in case that's a dart throw. I'm putting like $10 on that. So bet responsibly, but I do like that. In the 2 games, to get back to Maxey, that he has played against the Pacers this year, he's averaging 38.5 points per game. Now, that's obviously an inflated number because it's 2 games he's played, and in one of them, he dropped 50 on them back in November. But he dropped 50 in one game. The other game, he scored 27, so it wasn't like he immensely struggled in the second game after scoring 50. I will admit it has been a cold streak for Maxey, so this is our 3rd play where we are fading recent results. I like for him to bounce back in a great matchup tonight. 4th and final pick, Jazz-Wizards game. Tyus Jones, 8 plus assists, plus 140 odds at FanDuel. So for our last play of the day, our spiciest play of the day, I always try to find the best odds and save it for last. Best meaning just highest payout. And then also it's our only non-points play as well, backing Tyus Jones. So his main line assist prop at most books is 6.5, but the over is so heavily juiced at like minus 140. Some places all the way up to minus 170. That there really wasn't any value taking him over 6.5. So I decided to pump him up 1 assist, getting him to 8 plus, and just hope that we don't get burned like we did with DeJounte Murray last night. Tyus Jones has had some pretty absurd assist playmaking performances recently against the Knicks, who, as good as their defense has been, that I will say they have been giving up assists to point guards. He had 15 assists against the Knicks. 3 days later, he had 13 assists against the Nuggets. Overall, he has gone over this number in 4 of his last 9 games. 2 of the misses, he had exactly 7. So one of those situations where if one jumper goes in, those would have cashed and would have looked a lot better. If he has 7 tonight, I will be very frustrated, and that unfortunately will still be an under. I also like the fact that he's been playing more. He's been playing better, and they've been rewarding him with minutes as well. He's played more than 30 minutes in 6 of the last 8 games for the Wizards. In this 9-game stretch, which is when he really started, his assists started to go up, he's averaging 8.3 assists per game and 12.9 potential assists. That potential assist number is the most important one, because if the guys just get hot, then it's going to show, right? You kind of want to see a balance between assists and potential assists. His number at 12.9 puts him in line with guys like Luka Doncic, Jalen Brunson, LeBron James. Pretty good breadth of guys he's in with his potential assists in the past 9 games. And the matchup against the Jazz is as good as it gets. The Jazz give up the 2nd most assists per game to point guards in the NBA. Over the past month, they're giving up the 4th most assists per game to point guards. So sure, a little better, not by much. And to dive even deeper, you want to look at courtside power, to not look at just their position, but how they actually are as a playmaker, where their assists come from. The Jazz give up the most assists per game to someone of Tyus Jones's playmaking profile. The Wizards also just fired their head coach, so maybe we get a little bit of the fired coach bump here, and the Wizards just play a little bit better. I am going to sprinkle Tyus Jones up to 10+ assists as well as a ladder play. That's offered at 400 plus 400 odds. I only track whether our official plays hit, but I always like giving out my ladder plays. And that's all we got. 4 bangers for you guys to lock in. Let's get back on a hot streak and wipe away the cold streak that we've been on, especially yesterday. If you are riding with me, again, make sure to comment and let me know. Other than that, like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. Appreciate everybody for watching, and have a good one.